Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a bit more Barotrauma as we persevere. Hey, stop, I need to talk to you. Terminator Swarm. Okay. You can have you got anything else to say? No. Okay, good. So look, I mean, it's got its issues. Let's see how long we go before this suffocation bug makes me pull what little hair I have left on my head out. It is an interesting fan base, you know, not that I'm trying to pull fan bases against each other, but like this has issues, and another game that I'm playing at the moment, Imperium, has some serious issues as well, yet there seems to be a lot of hardcore fans for Imperium like, no! Like they get very, very cross and very cranky, whereas the Barotrauma guys are like, yeah, you're right, there's shit wrong with this game. Like, what is this? But like, you can still love a game and have issues with it. Alright, what about you? $2,500. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. And how much crew have we got? Anyway, yeah, it is inspiring. Well, like I said, the bug is kind of game breaking. And on one hand, it would probably be in my best interest, truly, to just wait for them to fix this bug. People still want to see episodes and see attempts. What is this? There you go. Someone has set up shop in their dorm room. A sign on the door says, Mike the Scry, he'll divine answers to all your questions. Oh god, step inside. You peek inside, heavy curtains line the walls. They're otherwise full of crudely drawn pictures of monsters, expensive submarines, and well-endowed women. Oh, okay, I like this setup. In the middle of the room is a round table with a couple of empty bottles of European moonshine and a crystal ball. A man wearing thick glasses and a sloppily tied turban is sitting behind the table. He squints and motions to take a seat. I'm Mike, he croaks. 5 marks to ask him anything. Let's go. You sit down at the table opposite Mike. A pungent smell of alcohol wafts from him. Come on then, what do you want to know about? What's the meaning of life? What's up with the clowns? What do you reckon is in the center of Europa? Yeah, that's a good question. Let's go. Fuck the clowns. Like, as far as I understand, that's a troll faction, right? It's a faction of dickheads who think that playing a co-op game is fun to sabotage it. I mean, each to their own. If you're one of those people, that's fine, and we're probably never going to play a game together ever, because I like playing games for fun, not at the expense of other humans. Mike blinks. What? I don't know, lava? Or is it magma in this case? He turns towards a bunk. Hey Jimmy, is it lava if it's underground or magma? A bundle of sheets stirs a bit. What is... Fuck off, Mike, I'm sleeping, it mumbles back. Mike scratches the back of his head. It's gotta be one or the other. What else could it be? He chuckles and flashes rotten teeth. A gateway to Earth? Ridiculous. Yeah, I guess it is. Alright, well, $5 well spent, I suppose. Who knows? Did they say that they've actually added something at the center in the patch notes? I think they might have. That's cool. Oh man. Oops, down I go. Everyone's just having a big old chin wag here. Surely there's more quest givers or... So this is a cool framework, this base, but like, you go in, you look for the dude with the exclamation marks above their head, and then you go out. Like, it still needs work, but I don't mind it as a framework. They just, like, this better not be the finished concept, because as it stands, like, if, say they were gonna go, yeah, this is how bases are gonna be, I'd be like, no, give me back the campaign map, because this is just a waste of time, right? There's no real interesting anything to do. And that's the thing I just worry about. Like, I'm sure, oh god, oh, what a catch. I'm sure there's plenty of you that have been with these games since, like, their inception. What I want to do is buy items. It kind of shits me that they don't have the stores in a set place. Like, okay, cool, I'm all for procedural maybe later when you've fleshed it out, but now, when all you have is some shopkeepers, just keep the shopkeepers static, please. You know? Otherwise, you're making You know, think about what you're doing to the player experience. You're making me climb around and explore shit that has no value other than it's now become not even a puzzle game. It's become a time waste game of find the dude that's hidden somewhere in the base. And like, you know what? That's not a gameplay mechanic I'm remotely interested in engaging with. Christ, I want to buy supplies. I don't know where the supply person is. Where are you? Right, nah, fuck it. That's it, we're going. We're doing a mission. Anyway, yeah, so what I was saying before is like, there are plenty of you that have probably been with us since back in the day. Was this all part of the original scope? Because I think something that we as fans need to crack down on devs more often on scope creep. That's a very real thing as part of project management philosophy in general. Maybe some of you aren't aware with it, but essentially you create a project and you go, this is what's going to happen, and it's going to happen by this time, and go on. So many games go, oh, we're going to add an open world and fucking this and that, and then the game stays in early access forever and it's a bag of shit. What they need to do is just take a smaller bite of the pie and go for it. And I worry with this game, like, what are they trying to do? Anyway, I'm not necessarily trying to bash on it, but while the base seems cool, I'm sort of like, yeah, it wasn't this free to play for like fucking years before they put it into this version. Like, what, are we expecting this game to be a finished product in 15 years or something? Maybe just fix the bots and put it in full release or something, you know? Alright, anyway, Terminator Swarm, we can do that. 2,500, absolutely we can do that. Anyway, just some thoughts. I'm a little bit skeptical of where it's going. The gameplay loop's okay at the moment, but it's good. It's good enough for release, I suppose. Like, to be honest, like for an average game. All right, here we bloody go. Sandra. On the guns, love. Maybell, fire it up. Matt. Leaks and repairs. And I guess we'll pull away. Now I'm going to want double guns for this because of the swarm. Anyway, we'll persevere. We'll persevere. Oh, Jesus. That truck is ripping past. I guess the reactor's powered up, right? So we'll put you on a gun. I know that's not your job. You're a bloody engineer or something. Mechanic. But you can get on the guns. Still boggles my mind, you know, because, like, consider, and you get people going, oh, you should play it multiplayer. It's like, that's not what I'm here for in this game's presence on YouTube, right? I play it solo because people are curious about the solo experience. I understand that this is primarily a multiplayer game, and there are plenty of big YouTubers that do the multiplayer shenanigans and all that sort of stuff. So, like, it's not even that the multiplayer doesn't interest me per se, it's just, it doesn't have a place on this channel, if you follow. But still, someone's got to represent the single player content, so that's what I play and do here. And I'm fully aware that's a secondary mode, but the fact that I get so much traffic around it sort of indicates that there are plenty of people that want to play it single player, and we've unpacked this before. It absolutely boggles my mind the amount of money they ask to buy this game for a multiplayer game. It's like, I don't care how deep it is, unless it's like maybe an MMO, but even then, MMOs are free or subscription just about these days. But this game's like $50. to play a multiplayer bloody shenanigans simulator. And there's so many that are free, and I would probably argue, and it's not a bash against this, that would do a better job, or at least be on parity with it. Like, I just, it makes me, it blows my mind that the asking price for this game is $50, and what you're gonna get like 8 blokes together and they're all gonna buy a copy as well? You're dreaming. So yeah, that's the one thing that really boggles me, is yeah, and again, like I'm not someone that just dismissively says it's greedy devs. I very much doubt that. I honestly think there's lots of different departments. Anyone that's ever worked in any sort of corporate anything knows that there's lots of different, like the guys making this game and tuning out content, even the guys designing the scope and all that, they have nothing to do with the dudes that decide how much it's gonna have, cost and all that. Those guys aren't gamers, they don't give a shit. So for whatever reason, there just seems to be this disconnect between the amount of content that's gone into this game and the guys that are saying this is how much money it's gonna cost. That really boggles my mind that there's a financial drama going on. Make those guns sing, boys. This game, I feel, could find so much more success if it was cheaper, And as much as I like to rant about Sign of the Times, sort of, if a game can't get the first 30 minutes right, then it has every right to be uninstalled, deleted, and refunded, because that's what the modern times are. I don't like that they're in my blind spot. Same sort of thing, like, I know it costs a lot of money to make games and multiplayer games, but we're almost at a point now, if your multiplayer game's not free, what are you doing? Or, you know what I mean? Because there are so many free-to-play multiplayer games just dominating the landscape. You just have to figure out a way to make all your money back on cosmetics or something. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying it's the right way. I'm just saying I think that's how it is. What is this shit? Repair. Oh great, we crashed. Yeah. So, and like another game that I think of, which I would love to play more, and I got an alpha key, but I never ended up getting the full release, which was GTFO. That was like a 4-player horror, sort of almost like Aliens. You're working through a facility. You can go guns blazing. You have to at certain points, but to be honest, you're doing it wrong if that's the approach. Like, it's so tricky. You get one thing wrong and everyone dies. And I think we're good. We've just got a tiny bit of swarm down here. But yeah, what I'm mentioning GTFO because if I recall, now it might have changed, I haven't looked into it. But that game had so much pomp, so much, everyone was so psyched for it. I feel like it looked like it was going to be a sleeper hit because of all the buzz. But it did the same thing. It charged a ridiculous amount of money, probably around that $40 to $50 mark that this does, to play a game that is only multiplayer, really. And that had way less content at launch than this. And yeah, it just boggles me. Very good. Let's get out of here. Anyway. But if you do want to go into all that, like, I actually said this for a while, maybe not necessarily on the channel, but just as a gamer with a big mouth and an opinion, that, like, bring on the free-to-play games. Like, not as we know them, not the Raid Shadow Legends or all that, but apparently that's not terrible, for a gacha game, but that's another discussion altogether. I love the idea of making your game 100% free-to-play with sort of, like, cosmetics, like having some monetization system so that people play your game and because I believe in meritocracy, right? I'm a huge fan of you fucking earn your place. And if you, oh no, it's right in the blind spot. And so if you put your game out there and it's absolute shit hot gangbusters, people will put money into it. People will pay. Imagine if our gaming culture was that every game was free. I mean, it's a bit tough to do it with like a single player game. I don't know, maybe you gauge like a Last of Us story game or whatever. But broadly speaking, maybe I am just talking about those sort of multiplayer games or roguelikes or something. I don't know, right? But you make these sort of almost live service type games, you know, these living games that get updated and they have a life cycle. Imagine if the whole culture for video games was that they are free and you try them and then eventually you find the one that you like and then you start going, hey, what's $5 here and there? You know, what's the skin here and there? And before you know it, maybe you spent your $50 in a year on the game, but it earned it off you, is my point. You put the money into it because it showed you proof of concept. It showed you that it was a good game worth your time. And like, so I've championed that for a long time. You know, put your money where your mouth is. Now, obviously, middle ground is ideal. You know, people need money, people need to eat. But what we're looking at these days in the current bloody climate is just shovelware bullshit, early access games that are hot garbage. I think that's a thing that we can explore, but we don't have time. You know, they take the money and run sort of thing, or you know, I'm sorry, Barotrauma, you ask a ridiculous amount of money for what you're putting on the table compared to your contemporaries. And it's just strange that culture is sort of accepted. But having said that, I say that, it's pretty clear we're in a transitional stage. You know, you got your Fortnites and your Dotas and all that. I know they're the big name ones, but there's plenty of other games that are doing the same sort of thing. And then I look at something like a No Man's Sky. Now, some people might not be a fan of No Man's Sky, that's fine. But that asks for a one-off fee, and then they're constantly updating it. Sea of Thieves is another one as well. I love Sea of Thieves because they put in content updates every month. And all you just pay once and that's it. Or you're on Game Pass like me. And it boggles my mind that they've got the money to do that, but they must somehow. You know, it's turn and profit. And so I guess all I'm saying is that all these different companies, they don't have an industry standard on how they handle the business end, right? And some of them, I think, make terrible decisions. And I wonder if there's people at the Barotrauma headquarters or Daedalic or, no, probably Fake Fish, like the actual developer, who are pulling their hair out because they signed some shit deal and they didn't realize it until years later, and now they have to charge this much money for the thing and they probably wouldn't, you know, like, who knows, it could be that complicated. But I suppose the core of the rant is that there are so many different ways to finance your games. You know, you've got up the other end of the scale, like the EA loot box bloody FIFA sort of scandal, which so many people hate, and yet it's probably the biggest money maker in the entire industry. So it's like, there's so many ways to do it. And I think one of the worst ones is probably the way that Barotrauma and GTFO, the guys that I gave the other example, do it, you know. Asking for this big chunk of money for a not even close to finished game that requires multiplayer. Yeah, just a thought. Just a thought. But yeah, there's so many games. Like Warframe, I keep meaning to try. I tried Warframe back in the day and I hated it. I found the movement and all that just to be really, really, really weird and unintuitive. But from what I gather, they just keep piling out content and story and lore, and it's one of those things that you can get involved in and wrapped up in, and it's all bloody free. Not that I'm trying to advertise. I've never played the game, so I can't advertise for it, you know, but anyway, it's just a thought. I know it's a bit of a rant, but sometimes that's how these Barotrauma episodes have to go. I'm getting chased by a little hanger-on there. Oh, you changing ammo? Right, I was going to say, why didn't you kill him? But yeah, it's I'd love to have a peek behind the curtain, but the truth is, we're never gonna know, right? Because it's gonna be one or the other, right? It's gonna be that the guys running this company have no idea. They can't figure out why their game isn't selling gangbusters, and yet they still charge $1 bazillion for a copy. Or the other side is that they totally know, but for reasons that they can't necessarily disclose to the public, there's nothing they can do about it. Like, they have to do it or the company will go bankrupt or something like that, you know. So we'll never know the answer. But we'll just have examples of games that do it well and games that do not do it well. Geez, we got through that a lot quicker than I thought. Alright, well we'll take a moment to bloody check out our supplies. Yeah, I'd be curious what people think about this base thing. So like at first I was enamored with it, you know. I was like, oh wow, this is so cool. But now that I've realized that it's just a procedural thing with essentially 3 people that you want to talk to and that's it, it's sort of like, why am I doing this again? You know, is this actually an improvement over what it was before? And I don't know. I wonder if the devs saw that coming. I wonder if the devs thought that far ahead and thought, I'm not sure people are going to be super impressed with this base mechanic. Because yeah, it's one thing to go, alright, I see where you're going with it and all that, but the content is so thin. I guess my question to you guys is like at what point do you crack the sads and go from being a hardcore fan and go, no, enough is enough, you're actually milking me and this is bullshit? If you follow what I mean? Like when is that line crossed? I'm curious. Because you gotta remember, like, look at what I do. I'll play one game once every single day, and then I just play whatever's popular. Like, I don't particularly get really super absorbed into fandom. Oh wow, we've got all sorts of shit back here. You know what I mean? Like, do we have morphine? Probably need fentanyl, don't we? Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm always curious about this and what people think. And oh, that's an empty ammo box. So probably look. Our supplies are actually pretty solid, to be perfectly honest. So I'm happy with it. Anyway, a little bit of a rant, but like I said, it's one of those things. It's all good and well to make observational statements, like it's very clear why Barotrauma is always going to be niche. Like, it's a cool game and it's fun and it's niche in design, but their financial position is just so dumb. But at the same time, you would think that the guys working over in that company know that, and for some reason that they're stuck in this arrangement. Otherwise, they'd change it, for sure. You've seen companies change these sort of decisions before, so I just feel like maybe they're just stuck and they're hoping for more suckers to pay full price for this thing, sort of thing. But yeah, I'm curious what people have to say about that. Again, I'm not knocking or attacking the game or anything like that, but you know, if you can separate your fandom from the game and go, all right, compare what's in this game and what it brings to the table as a multiplayer sandbox mayhem pit compared to some other games in the genres that do that as well. Is this the best one? Is this the one that has the most content and the most appeal? Outside of Theme? Like, Theme would be the only thing that set it apart because it's like a submarine game. And are the other guys doing the same thing for the same price? Because at the end of the day, like, I mean, if you've got 4 of your mates on Discord and you're playing a game, quite often, it doesn't matter so much what you're playing, as long as everyone's happy and having fun. You know, like the sort of the scaling fidelity matters less when you're there to hang out with the boys and have a blast, and the game is a vehicle for that. Whereas like more of a single player experience is more that you're getting immersed and going into that experience, so that matters more. Anyway, a bit of a long one. Well, not a long episode, but a bit of a long chat there. But I'm always curious what people have to say, because we attract all sorts here, you know, casual types and hardcore fans. And, you know, as long as you keep it civil, I'm always curious what's going on. Anyway, team, we might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.